Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel, and thank you so much for joining me for another monthly net worth update. If you haven't seen these videos before, every single month I go through my income, my net worth, all of my investment accounts, and then later in the video, we're going to talk about some life updates. So let's go ahead and jump right in. My net worth at the end of 2023, the end of December, was $124,855. Another thing I want to point out is all of these figures are in Canadian dollars. I do currently live in New Zealand, but all of my investments, all of my investment accounts are in Canadian. The equity in my condo is $55,305, and that is an increase from December of $444. This increase is pretty much the same every month, and I actually have a point that I'm going to talk about later about this property, so stay tuned for that. Second on this list is my RRSP, which is a registered retirement savings plan in Canada, and that sits at a balance of $52,738. That's a slight increase from last month of $304. My DCPP, or defined contribution pension plan, this is another retirement account, sits at $3,839, another really small increase of just $12 month over month. My TFSA, or tax-free savings account, this has had a pretty significant difference, which we are going to discuss, but it sits at a balance of just $125. And that is a decrease of $8,928. So yeah, that's a pretty big dip, which we'll get into. Next on the list is my vehicle, and this is the one that I share with my partner. So my half is valued at 1,500 Canadian dollars. This is the same month over month, and we are going to be selling that in the next 2 or 3 months. My cash account sits at a balance of $7,913. So this is an increase from December of $4,733. So if you haven't already guessed, a lot of the money in my TFSA has now been moved into my cash account, which we'll discuss. And that brings our grand total net worth for January 2024, the very first month of the new year, to $121,420. This is a decrease from December of $3,435. One of the biggest reasons why my net worth has gone down quite a bit, and one of the biggest reasons why I moved so much cash out of my TFSA into my cash account, is because we booked a ton of travel in advance. We have a South Island, New Zealand road trip coming up really soon, which by the time you're seeing this video, we are on that trip. So I can't wait to share that with you. Other than that, we booked a cruise from Australia, basically all the way back to Canada with a flight in between. And then we're going to be doing some traveling in Australia. So there's a lot of travel that has been booked months in advance. And that is the main reason why my net worth has gone down in January. Another thing I wanted to chat about is that at the end of the year, I did get dividend payouts from VEQT, which is the Vanguard All Equity Fund that I mainly invest in my RRSP and my DCPP and my TFSA up to the end of last year. I ended up reinvesting those funds. It was about 1,100 Canadian dollars, so I just threw it right back into VEQT. That is the plan going forward. Every year, I'm just going to go ahead and reinvest those dividends. Something else that I wanted to mention surrounding the property I own back in Calgary in Canada is that I don't include the value increase in property every year. There isn't really a solid reason why I do this. I only use the amount that I paid for it in my net worth calculations, and that was 200,000 Canadian dollars. I did end up just getting my City of Calgary evaluation for the property, and it's now valued at 260,000 Canadian dollars. I have considered including it in my net worth, but I'd be interested on what you guys think about that. Leave me a comment down below if you include your property increase in value in that calculation at all. Or I know some of you don't even include your property equity in your calculations. I don't personally use my property equity to calculate my retirement situation. Like when I use the Canadian retirement calculator on the government website, I only use what I have invested. And I do plan on in the future maybe doing a reverse mortgage on the property, just having the bank buy it back and then using that money for travel and whatnot in retirement if I'm in good health. But I'm really interested to know if you guys include either equity or property values as they fluctuate in your net worth calculations. I feel like that's a debated topic, so I'd really like to know what you guys think of that. Jump into income for January. So every month I make about 500 Canadian dollars in a profit for my rental property. This month I also made $240 in credit card points on my Brim MasterCard. I do have a video on this credit card. In my opinion, it is the best Canadian travel credit card. It is pretty much exclusively the card I use in New Zealand. and have been using for the past year abroad, and it's absolutely fantastic. I'm not partnered with them whatsoever. I have like a buddy code, so people sign up with the buddy code for the card. Once they activate it, I get $20 in points, and then they get $10 in points. I'll put the code here in case you're interested. If you want to check out that video, please feel free, but no obligation whatsoever. Brim, if you're ever watching one of my videos, please reach out to me. I really love your credit card and your platform, and I would absolutely love to work with you. But yes, this is not affiliated with them whatsoever. They have no idea I talk about them all the time or have a bunch of people signing up for the card. So it was a really good month for me for credit card points. Thank you so much to those of you who signed up, because I use those points for everyday purchases. I also use them for travel expenses. And last but not least, I made 210 Canadian dollars through YouTube AdSense. Kind of wild to me that I made less money in YouTube AdSense over the Brim credit card points, because the credit card points, I made that video like months ago, and it just keeps giving, where YouTube, I put a lot of time into it and it doesn't even perform as well as that. So it's really interesting to me that that is how things are going. And honestly, that explains why so many YouTubers do partnerships, because you just don't make enough off of AdSense. Like, you almost have to do partnerships and brand deals in order to support yourself if you want to do it as a full-time job. That brings the total income for January to 950 Canadian dollars. So again, that is another reason why my net worth has dipped in January. I had a pretty low income for the month. And as you can see, I didn't have any income from my hop farm job. Pretty much at the end of the season right now, the hops are just kind of growing until harvest in mid to late February. Let's go ahead and jump into some life updates now so we can continue the conversation on the hop farm job. My working holiday visa expires on February 23rd, I want to say. So that is the last day that I can work in New Zealand. I am in the process of getting a visitor visa so that we can stay until the end of March. Donovan is renewing his working holiday visa so he can continue to work. The reason why I went for the visitor visa is because I thought that potentially I would not need to get medicals done. So if you don't know, if you're in New Zealand for more than 12 months, you pretty much have to get a chest x-ray and a full medical exam. And the cost is around 600 New Zealand dollars, plus the visa fees, which are around 500. So for me, I'm not making a lot of income. It seemed like it was just a little ridiculous for me to spend that money. So I went with the visitor visa, which was 200 and some New Zealand dollars to renew. However, I did find out just a few days after submitting that application that doesn't matter, I need to get those medicals anyway. So I'm out of pocket, $800 to stay an extra month in New Zealand, which kind of sucks because I can't work for March. So if I hadn't known that in advance, I would have applied for the balance of the working holiday visa, which was an extra 11 months if you are Canadian. What are you gonna do? I might end up renewing my working holiday visa anyway. Honestly, I was originally going for the extension of the 3 months because it specifically says on the website that you do not need to get medicals for that, but I've only worked on the hop farm for 2 months. So you need a minimum 3 months of horticulture or viticulture work. So it just didn't work out. It was a lot of stress. It's been very stressful for the past few months trying to figure out the visa situation, honestly. So I really don't know what I'm going to do in March. I've had a few people reach out and give me some suggestions for video ideas and everything, but I have to be honest with you guys. I am getting extremely burnt out with YouTube, which is another update. If you haven't noticed, I have stepped back a little bit in my YouTube uploads. I'm only doing 1 long form video a week and 1 short. Used to do 2 long form videos a week, and it's just too much. It's too much, even though I'm not really working a normal job. The mental burnout is quite ridiculous. And as you can see, I do not make much money doing this. So if it's not giving me personal satisfaction and I'm not happy doing it, of course, that amount of money is not worth it. Doing 1 video per week is a lot more manageable for me and a lot less stressful. So I'm going to stick with that going forward. If things change, I might ramp it up, but for the foreseeable future, it's going to be once a week and it's going to be a little more lax. I've actually had to delete YouTube and Instagram off of my phone because it has been affecting my mental health. I just find myself getting totally sucked into comment sections and getting kind of triggered by negative comments, not only on my content, but on other people's content, on content creators that I watch and respect a lot. And I'm just getting very sad by the whole situation, by how cruel people are in comments, how mean people are online. It really affects my day to day. If I read a really nasty comment first thing in the morning, kind of ruins my day. So I've had to just completely remove myself from that whole part of it. I have considered completely walking away from YouTube because of it. I'll be completely honest with you. The money is not worth the mental stress sometimes. And although the majority of you are incredibly amazing and supportive, and I love you so much, and thank you so much for supporting me through all of the ups and downs, it is not really a great job because you're working alone most of the time. You never really interact with people in person, and you get shit on a lot. Like, you guys don't see it because I delete the vast majority of the negative and horribly offensive and rude racist comments. But it's tough, and I'm not going to be one to glamorize what doing YouTube is like. You can see exactly how much money I make, and the amount of work I put into it is probably 20 to 30 hours a week to make $210 a month. That is not sustainable, especially when you feel like crap when you're reading comments from people who it's nothing to them to write something rude and to just move on with their life. For me, if I get 5 or 10 a day, that's going to affect me. Yeah, that's going to make me feel like crap. So I have to step it back. And I'm sorry to those of you who are so supportive and love watching my content, but for my own personal reasons, I just have to take a step back. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think one of the major reasons why I have not had a great time in New Zealand is because I've been sharing everything online. I honestly think I've been bringing out the worst in a lot of people here. And if I totally never started YouTube before coming here, I think my experience would have been completely different. And that kind of sucks because I can't go backwards and change that now. All I can do is try to step it back now and try to really enjoy New Zealand for the next couple of months before we leave. But I do want to be completely transparent and open with you guys and honest that it's just not really that great being on YouTube, being online in general, being any kind of content creator. You just are opening yourself up to a ridiculous amount of criticism from people you've never met. And it sucks. It honestly sucks because it is a creative outlet for me. And I really do love doing it. But the comments are just, it's too much for me at this point. So stepping it back a little bit, and we'll see how it goes in the future. There's tons of travel coming up, and I'm so excited to document it and share it with you guys. So there will definitely be lots to come, but you're just not going to hear from me as frequently. I'm not going to be on my comments going through them as frequently. I'll be checking them probably once a day. And when we have family here in the next couple of weeks, I'm not really going to be looking at it whatsoever. So it is going to be a bit quiet on the channel for a little bit, though I have pre-filmed a bunch of videos for you guys. And again, thank you so much for the support. I hope that you guys understand where I'm coming from and appreciate the honesty, which I always try to be on this channel. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me for another monthly net worth update. Leave me a comment down below about how your January has been, if you've seen some nice upticks in the market, if you're doing something different with your investments, if you're considering maybe changing the way you look at money as you watch my videos. I hope I'm trying to open you up to that. And I'll see you guys really soon in the next video. Bye.